90 WMRN. And Scott Spears earlier interviewed Dr. Joyce Brothers on the subject of suicide, and here's that interview.
This is Scott Spears, and today the topic is suicide. Joining me is world-renowned psychologist Dr. Joyce Brothers. Dr. Brothers, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's an extremely important topic, and the more we learn about it, the more we're able to do something about it.
That's exactly right. Now, speaking of that, why is suicide such a taboo subject in most people's eyes? I mean, you hardly ever hear of it.
Well, the reason is that it's scary. One of the highest rates is suicide of physicians, and we look to physicians for so much of our future. And the possible reasons for the higher rate of suicides among physicians than in other occupations is that with some older psychiatrists, suicide may be a logical termination of life at a time when hope has been abandoned, or in younger men, several who committed suicide had been recognized as emotionally unstable. But that's scary when some of our most admired people are very high individuals who try to take their own lives.
Yes, and do you think that celebrity does play into that? Because some of the most admired people have committed suicide, and I know there's so much today going on with rehabilitation centers, such as the Britney Spears case that was recently put up, and Anna Nicole Smith, how can we forget that? That's been everywhere lately.
Yes.
Not that that's been deemed a suicide at this point, but do you think being in the public eye plays a major part?
No, I don't think so, because there are a lot of youngsters who commit suicide because of the pressures that they put upon themselves, not necessarily society putting it upon them. I think there are some people who try for a sense of importance to fight suicidal desires, but I don't think that trying to be a superstar, or that if you are in the limelight that you're going to try to commit suicide. If we think of all the people who are in the limelight now, and the number who have tried, most of the time, suicide, it never becomes socially acceptable. When I did a study a little while ago, years ago, at a university, the students asked specifically for my topic to be suicide, and I was concerned about, that I might be planting ideas, and we talked it over, the college faculty, and I talked it over, and he felt that it was, as long as it was the student's desire, I should do that. And after I finished with all the discussion of suicide, and why we tried, successful or unsuccessful. We don't want it to be successful. We want it to be unsuccessful, but we don't want it to be something that's going to mark the person for life. I said, it's a very unusual question, but have any of you had some friend or someone in the college indicate that they were going or thinking about suicide? And almost all the hands went up. But what they didn't do, they tried to help them by themselves, but they didn't turn to the faculty or to the people who were there to specifically prevent suicidal behavior. And after this, the university did change, and we explained that when some of the youngsters start talking about it, it can be a real problem, and it should be reported to and taken care of before people actually try, because very often there is suicide prevention. It depends on finding help when it's needed the most.
Exactly right. What do you believe are some of the warning signs to look out for in a suicide patient?
Well, the suicidal person is very ambivalent. They have a fantasy. They want to die, but they also want desperately to live. And if they choose to die, there's no second chance. A person intending to kill himself almost always leaves clues, and the clues have to be seen as cries for help, because if a suicidal cry can be heard, a life can be saved.